Welcome to Strong in the Broken Places. My name is Jeffrey Reuter, and this is episode number 25. Just in case you guys didn't know this, I'm in a transition house. There are 7 of us living in the house. It's a 3-bedroom house. One guy has his own room, and there's 3 of us in each of the other 2 rooms. I'm the youngest, so I don't have a studio. I get it where I can get it. So and that's what I do. I make it work. So things always don't work out for me how I want it to work out. I don't always get to do these clips when or where I want to do it. And it seems like there's always somebody around. But one thing about it, this is what we do when we want to become strong in our broken places. We find a way to make things happen. And we all of us are in an environment, and this is what I want to talk about today is our environments. We're always all in some sort of environment, and we have a choice to make. We can either become products of our environment, which means that we let our environment impact us, or we impact our environment. So we always have these choices. And yesterday I spoke about 4 different people. And if you don't, do you know who they are? If you haven't figured out who they are yet, let me tell you who they are, and then we'll keep it moving. The guy was Booker T. Washington. Then after him was Helen Keller, Anne Frank, and we'll wrap it up with Viktor Frankl. And the magical thing about these 4 individuals is that they did not become products of their environment. They actually impacted the area where they were at. And their impact is still being felt long after their deaths. And it's just the most amazing thing. And that is what is in our potential to do, is to have that sort of impact. But to have that sort of impact, we have to be intentional. Now, here's the whole thing about our environment and being products of our environment. When we're young, we have very little control over that, and we are impacted by our environment. And by environment, I mean our people, places, and things. When we're young, we're impacted by our home life, our school life, our neighborhoods. To be sure, that plays a major role in our development. But even people like Booker T. Washington, he, as a young child, and this is what's so amazing, as a young child, he found a way to surpass that. And as we get older, and we begin to have more freedoms, and we begin to have the ability to choose and to be intentional, the impact in our environment plays less role in our lives if we're intentional with it. If we're not intentional, then we are subjected to whatever's going around us. And that includes the things that we choose to involve ourselves with, because they play a major role in who we are and who we become as well. I just did 28 years in prison, and I've been out for about 45 days now. And I would like to say this about being a product of our environment, being a product of my environment, is, and I believe this is a big reason why the recidivism rates in the United States are so high, is that people, they're not intentional when they go to prison, and they become the product of their environment. See, when I went to prison, I brought with me a bunch of luggage with me. And the thing about it was that luggage, those issues, addiction, anger, I was uneducated. I was smart, but I was uneducated. I didn't even realize that I was smart. I just knew that I was just consistently making mistakes. So I brought a bunch of baggage with me to prison. And in prison, which is a super unnatural environment, there is already a lot of baggage there. So my baggage easily blended in with all the other baggage there. The problem was this here, is that for my first 10 years, my baggage didn't take over the baggage that was already there. What has a tendency of happening is the junk in prison has a way of consuming the person. The person doesn't consume prison. Prison consumes the person. And it's very easy to go in with perhaps just 1 or 2 issues, perhaps anger and addiction. But if a person's not careful, he's going to be consumed by all these other negative things going on in his life, and it's very easy to succumb to that. And you have to, a person has to be vigilant. He has to be aware of this. And the problem is a lot of us aren't aware of this. We're not vigilant. And so we take on all this stuff and then we're released. Every year in the United States, a third of the prison population is released. So if there's 2 million people in prison at any given time and a third of those people are released every single year, that's roughly 700,000 people are being released from prison. So it's understandable why the recidivism rates are so high when we're just talking about a major warehousing. So, and this goes to, I'd like to talk about the difference between surviving and thriving. And when we want to become strong in our broken places, what we need to do more than just survive. We need to thrive. See, anybody can survive prison because all you do is got to just keep breathing and go to the chow hall and you're going to make it. But you're not going to become successful. You're going to go out and you're going to, chances are you're going to commit new crimes and you're just going to start that revolving door process like is so very common. But in order to thrive, when we want to thrive, no matter where our environment is, when we want to thrive, we have to be intentional. And I didn't do 28 years in prison, come out and am in the position where I am right now simply because I survived. What I learned how to do is I learned how to thrive in a very unnatural environment. And if we want to become strong in our broken places, we need to be able to recognize, am I simply surviving in my environment or am I surviving? Is my environment having an impact on me or am I having an impact on my environment? So that's what I would like for you to think about today is who is having an impact on who? And I want you to be strong in your broken places, and I would love to be able to spend more time with you each session talking more about this because there's just so much to say, but we want to keep it within a certain amount of time. And lately I have a tendency of going past that time. So I'm going to work on that and I'm going to get back within a reasonable amount of time. And I'll see you later. I'll see you in 26. And until then, be strong in your broken places.